Welcome back to Nature's Corner. My name is Erin Shaw. I'm a park naturalist with Ohio Department of Natural Resources. On today's show, we're going to be taking you on a tour of the northern part of the lake. So that includes where 73 crosses and above. Today we're at 50 Springs. We're just past the bridge. A lot of people miss this area. It's right along 73, but the sign is kind of hard to see unless you're looking for it. So 50 Springs has a lot of unique qualities, and today we've run into Ron and our friends back here. So Ron, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
I know you've been here before, about last year, and we were talking about the trails.
That's right, and at that time we were kind of talking about the genesis of creating the trail team, and here's just some of the members of the trail team. This is Frank, Jeff, Sandy, Kat, and Mark. The trail team was put together in response to making sure that when we go out on the trails that the guests here at the park get the best experience they can possibly get.
Yeah, because we started hikes, I think it kind of started with a swinging bridge.
I think that was
which drew an interest in hiking, or it kind of re-sparked that interest. And even myself, you know, I was out hiking and I realized how muddy the trails were, how many thorns, you know, overgrown trails. So the trail team grew from there. I think there's a lot of people that are love to hike, and you guys have really made a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also to mention Terry Staley, who's out there. So if you're interested in helping with the trails, we're always appreciative and need more help. How many miles do we have?
We have almost 100 miles of trails. They're not all hiking trails. 50 Springs, for instance, is a multi-use trail. 50 Springs is about 3.3 miles out of the total 100. You can do hiking here, you can do mountain bike trail here, and you can also do cross-country skiing here, which you've said that some people want, what do I do in the wintertime? Well, you can come here and you can do cross-country skiing if we get enough snow.
That's right, and as far as I know, this is the only designated cross-country skiing trail.
That's right,
so
that is correct.
That's something that makes this unique, and that it's a multi-purpose trail, because on our hiking trails, it's hiking only. But this one, multi-purpose, mountain bike, hiking, and cross-country skiing.
We also have horse trails, and we do have semi-dedicated mountain bike trails as well. They're up north.
That's right. That's our next stop, actually, is the mountain bike trails. So what are some of the recent improvements that you've done?
In this specific trail, we had a big effort to do some grooming, completely groom it to standard. The winter was a little rough on this trail. Also, last year, at the end of last year, we decided to refurbish all our blazing. And blazing is a way for us to mark the trail for our guests in a way that's you can see it, but at the same time doesn't get in the way of the beauty of the trail itself. The blazing is just paint, and it's just there's a lot of art to it, but there's also some technical to it. You got to make sure you get the right color, a color that matches the maps that are the waypoint maps that are out there. We try to make them all the same height and width. We try to make them all at the same level, eye level, and so the reason behind that is the same reason we've done a lot of the signage, like the waypoint signs. Everybody that comes to the park, if they go to any trail, they should be able to walk around the trail and say, I know that this is this is coming from Caesars Creek. And then they should also be able to go to any park in Ohio and they can see the blazing, and it's the same sort of blazing, the same standard. So again, it gives them familiarity, makes them comfortable, and they can enjoy the trail more because of that.
Absolutely, because when I first started here, it was common to walk down the trail and there's big splotches and
all around the base of the thing.
Yeah, it was just
different colors, they didn't match.
So the trail team has made a tremendous improvement. I mean, I've heard a lot of comments coming back saying how much the trails have improved recently. So, so what are you guys up to today?
Well, today we're going to go on out and we have a fitness hike, and I think we might have talked a little bit about this the last time we were on on the broadcast. The fitness hikes we have starting at the very first day of the year, and it's twice a month, and it goes all the way to about October. And they each get a little longer so that people can, build up endurance. We made a goal this year to go out right before each one of those fitness hikes and do some light grooming. This isn't the heavy duty stuff like Terry does all the time. This is more of a light grooming, make sure there's no trees down because Mother Nature likes to throw things at us. If there's any mud, we can do some structures, temporary structures, like put in some corduroys. And we're going to do that today because we have a fitness hike soon. People who want to go on the fitness hikes, which we really encourage people to do that, you put them out on the Facebook, on Facebook. And so, like I say, twice a month you can go out here and see this beautiful area and hopefully a really nice trail to walk on.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, as you mentioned, the fitness hikes, they start in different locations, and that's to help people learn the different areas of the park. So 50 Springs, for example, a lot of people have driven past here thousands of times and maybe not even known this was here. So
right.
It's a special trail, a lot of unique features, and just
like them.
Are unique? Yes. And you. So thank you guys so much. Really, you're making a really big difference.
Thank you.
So, I guess
we have to go get to work, don't we? Bye, Aaron. Have fun.
Thank you. Bye. Another unique feature about 50 Springs is we also offer group camps here. So if you see back here in the distance, this is a group camp area. So with a group camp area, that means you can bring a group. So a group up to about 75 people. This is great for scouts if you have a family reunion or some kind of large gathering. And you can have this whole space here. There are flushing toilets and water here. If you're bringing drinking water, you might want to bring your own, like 5-gallon water jugs. But we do have flushing toilets on site. There is some playground equipment in the back, and it also leads straight into the trail. There's grills and so forth. So like I said, there are 3 group camp areas back here in the 50 Springs. This one here is the 50 Spring group camp area. We've got one called Hickory Overlook, and the one in the far back is Cedar Point. So we're going to go take a look at another thing that makes 50 Springs area unique, which is the shoreline access. So if you have more questions about the group camps, or if you want to reserve a spot, you can call our park office, and that information's online. So for now, we're going to go take a scenic overlook. 50 Springs is a peninsula, and we were just talking about the trails. We're standing on one of the trails, actually passes right through here. So as you can see behind me, this is a really scenic overlook. A lot of people ask where they can go for scenic overlooks. You can park right across the road and walk. It's maybe, 100 yards. It's not very far. This is a great place for shoreline fishing. That's another question I get asked a lot. This is also a beautiful place for the sunset, because you can sit here and it sets right over there on the horizon. 50 Springs also has several picnic areas. You could picnic right here along the shoreline if you wanted to, and at the group camps there's shelter houses and picnic tables and grill areas that you can come in and use free for the day. So if it's reserved by a scout group, of course, that they've reserved that spot, but you can drive around and just find a beautiful spot here at 50 Springs. It's nice and quiet. So if you're along 73, if you're near the marina or Harveysburg, just keep an eye out for this and don't miss it. Our next place is going to be the mountain bike trails. So we'll go take a quick look there. Another place in the park that people may not be familiar with is our mountain bike trails. We've got about 15 miles of mountain bike trails, and it's a series of loops. So you can stay out here all day long if you want to, and just kind of intertwine the loops together. The mountain bike trails are rated as intermediate, so if you're a beginner mountain biker, this is a good place to come out. There are a few difficult spots. For me, for example, I have to get off my bike and walk sometimes, but it has really scenic views. There are 4 trailheads. So right now we're at the Harveysburg trailhead. There's one on Ward Road. There's the Turkey Run Loop and also the Campground mountain bike trails. So as you can see, there's volunteer work going on here also. A group called CORA, which is Cincinnati Off-Road Alliance. And we're really thankful for CORA. They help all over the state. And if you're interested in mountain bike trails or maybe helping with the trail work, it's greatly appreciated. Trail ethics are also important. So if you're a mountain biker, please take into consideration there are volunteers out here working really hard to keep the trails in good shape. So if it's raining or muddy, it's best to wait for another day because your bike tires really rut out the trails. So it's a great system of loops, and if you've never been here, it's also good for hiking. So keep in mind you want to kind of stay off to the side or keep your ear out for mountain bikes that might be passing through. But a lot of people have never been back here. So there's old growth woods and a lot of scenic vistas. So we're headed now to the campground and we will see you there. We're now at the Cedar Creek Campground. This is located at the northern part of the park. It's kind of hard to find if you're not familiar. It's really close to 71 and 73. So if you know where the Cedar Creek Flea Market is or the Renaissance Festival, then you can find this easy. It's also located pretty close to Kings Island, so a lot of people will camp here and visit one of those various sites. A lot of people will also come here for boating. This Cedar Creek is an unlimited horsepower lake, so a lot of people will come and bring their boats. You can go skiing or kneeboarding, tubing. We've got a lot of personal watercraft like jet skis and just hand paddle craft too, canoes and kayaks. This is actually a great place to launch your canoe or kayak because being at the very northern part of the lake, if you head further north, it's a no wake zone. So when I go canoeing or kayaking, this is usually where I put my boat in because it's where the creek feeds into the lake. There's a lot of wildlife here. This is probably the best spot in the whole park to watch the sunset, either from shore or from your boat. And here at the campground, there's 287 sites, I think, something like that. We've got 18 full hookup sites. Every site is pet friendly. You do need to have your pet on a leash or inside your camper or your tent, whatever you have. And there's a lot of recreation opportunities here. So we've got the mountain bike trails. Actually, right from where I'm standing is the campground mountain bike trailhead. There's several miles of hiking trails, and again, really scenic overlooks. From the campground amphitheater, where we show outdoor movies, you can start one of the hiking trails there and follow the shoreline. It's called Lakeview Trail. It's one of my favorite hiking trails. Great place for the sunset. The amphitheater has a covered picnic area, so if you want to come in just for the day and have a picnic, or if you're having a camp out, that's a kind of a centralized area where you can go. And a lot of activities happen there. We have campground crafts, and the movies are really cool. It's really close to the boat dock. So we just this week got brand new boat docks. I haven't even seen them actually. So today we're going to go back. It'll be my first time seeing them. I'm really excited about that. And we have a lot of our naturalist programming here too. We have free canoeing and kayaking. So the park provides the boats. All you have to do is show up. The programs are free. We'll show you the Yak Shack, kind of where that's centrally located. And yeah, we'll do a safety 101, how to canoe and kayak, and then we'll take you out. We go up to the northern part where I was talking about, and then come back. Sometimes we do the sunset paddles also. We have archery and all kinds of things here. So it's a great place to come with your family, to stay here for the day, or if you want to stay here and camp and then go to the Renaissance or Kings Island or even the Cedar Creek Flea Market. We're located now at the very northern part of the park. This is the Division of Wildlife area. It's where Cedar Creek and Anderson Fork run in together, and the creek flows into the lake. So there's a lot of history right here. We're just into Greene County, so we're pretty close to Xenia. And this is where Tecumseh and Blue Jacket and Caesar all kind of ran around together. Along with Caesar himself, this area is really important with history because there was a town here called New Burlington. New Burlington is no longer here. It was actually flooded in order to prevent floods downstream. So the lake was built for flood control. And New Burlington is now underwater. A lot of our dead-end roads would go right through the town. I hear stories from visitors that come in and say, oh, we used to live here and our farm was here, and they point at the map. There's a book about the town of New Burlington. It's written kind of like a diary, so it's interesting local stories of the town members here. This area is also close to Xenia, so our Division of Wildlife state headquarters is right down the road. I usually go there for meetings, but you can get all kinds of information there at the wildlife headquarters. There's also a weapons range for firearms and archery. And we mentioned the fishing here. There are dove fields. They do a released pheasant hunt, which I've never seen, but I would like to be a part of. I think that's this fall. This area also has our dog training area. So in the summer months, I believe it's May through September, you can come up here and train your dog. So it's mostly for dogs that hunt with you, but you can also come up here if you're training your dogs for whatever reason. You do not need a permit, and the dogs can be off leash up here. So it's just a unique part of the park, and again, we're at the very northern place. So our next stop will be the Haynes, also called Compton Road Boat Ramp. So we're here now at the 5th boat ramp in the park. This one is, sometimes I've heard it called Haynes Boat Ramp, sometimes I've heard it called Compton Road. On the sign up here it says Young's Road Boat Ramp. Not actually sure what it's called, but we're at the very northern part of the park, and just past me, where you can see in the distance, is the campground, and north of us is the wildlife area. So it's pretty shallow through here. This is a great place if you have a little fishing boat, or again, if you're going to go kayaking or canoeing. This is a great place to put in. It's really protected, nice from the wind, and also from boat traffic. So really good for fishing, great for bird watching. After it rains, there's little waterfalls that trickle off the edges. So you can see that instead of the wooden ramps, like most boat ramps have, this is more of a step down. So you can tie your canoe or kayak right on the edge here, and there's not a whole lot of boat traffic. So really, really neat spot. Right around the corner, the great white egrets migrate through, and this is one of the only places in the park that I see those. I also often see the bald eagle and osprey. There's a great blue heron standing right behind us. So nice and peaceful. You don't hear the motors of the fast boats. So yeah, and if you keep paddling north, you'll go up the creek. So from here, we're going to go to our last stop, which will be the horse trails. We're now here at our final location. This is the Cedar Creek Horsemans Camp. And as you can see, there's different campsites along here, and this is special for people with horses. They have different events here. Well, you can come anytime and just go on your own. They also have fundraisers. I forget what the specific fundraiser is called, but it's for breast cancer. And they have a big ride where they all go out together. So you do need to bring your own horse, but it's free and open to anyone that wants to come. If you want to camp, you do a self-registration. You do it here on site. You just drive in, you fill out a piece of paper, put your information in, and then you pick which site you want. So there's about 50 miles of horse trails here, anywhere from a beginner horseman all the way up to advanced. So there's different trails. Be sure you look at the map and know where you're going before you go. My first ride out on the horse trail, I was really surprised how long it took us to get back. But we had a lot of fun. There's great views, and you can see behind us a typical campsite. So they have their RVs, they brought their dogs. This family, I think it's 2 sisters and the brother-in-law, and so it's nice to see different park users come out. So hiking is welcomed on the trails, on the horse trails. However, mountain bikes are not, because it scares the horses. So anywhere you go in the park, be sure that you know where you are and you know what kind of park user is there. And there's a little something for everyone here. So along with our individual campsites, we also have a group camp for horses. So if you have a scout group or a family reunion, somewhere where you want more than one person per site, you can fit up to 75 people. And it's designed with the hitching posts and all the things that you would need for your horses. There's also a shelter house, picnic area, and grills, and just a really nice place that maybe you didn't know existed here in the park. So it's a very large state park. We're lucky to have it here in our backyard. There's a lot to see, a lot to explore. There's about 100 miles of trails if you add them all together. 5 boat ramps, 5 islands, 2 swimming beaches, the nature center, the visitor center. So if you have any more questions, please stop in and see us. So that's it for today's show. This is our northern part of the park tour, and if you'd like to see the southern part, you can watch the previous show that we recorded. And if you have other questions, you can check us out online at CaesarCreekStatePark.com. We'll see you on the trails.